Hi, this video is going to be about using past life regression hypnosis for confidence issues. So, most of us suffer from some kind of issue of lack of self-confidence on some level. I've worked with people that are extremely successful, extremely wealthy, that have this issue. I've worked with people that are on the opposite end of the spectrum that have the issue. And it really doesn't have much to do about how good you look, how much money you have, how much fame you have even. It just doesn't matter, because at the core, when we are disconnected from our source, when we are not identified with our soul and our soul purpose, we're like a bone that didn't heal correctly, and there's a wobbliness. And so the basic self-confidence issue is maybe I'm not good enough. There's a fear of not being good enough. The interesting thing about this fear is that people will impose this thing of I'm not good enough on themselves. And when you point at somebody else that is definitely worse off than them and say, well, is that person not good enough? A lot of times, oh, no, they're fine. So it's really a violence that we do to ourselves, this whole I'm not good enough thing. I don't think trees in the forest are doing that. I don't think they're having a huge competition, and that the smaller trees that have gotten blocked out of the light are worrying about whether they're good enough or not. I might be wrong. They might have complete lack of self-confidence. But the thing is, my belief, and what I've seen through hundreds of past life regression sessions, is that you are a soul, you are immortal, and that soul is completely connected to the divine God, whatever you want to call it, and it's in complete splendor. It's an amazing being. And it is the real you. So there's no possibility of not being good enough. It's really kind of an insane idea. So anyway, how does past life regression hypnosis deal with this? Well, number one, you tap into that soul. You tap into that higher self level of what you are, that non-physical aspect. And even if you don't believe it, even if your conscious mind is completely fighting it, which it often will, if you hear something that's true, if you see something that's true, you experience something that's true, even if you don't believe it, it's still going to start working on you. And that's the thing. If you see a past life where you were a king, now part of you might say, yeah, of course I want to see myself as a king. I'm trying to be grandiose. I'm trying to be special. So I made up this thing about me being a king. But my point is, if you actually were a king, there's something in there, something in your subconscious that totally knows it. And then the wires will connect. It's like the nerves will regrow and reconnect. And it will slowly, and sometimes not so slowly, start changing your self-image. Because this is the whole thing of lack of self-confidence. You are a self. You can be confident about that. You are a self. There are people smarter than you, richer than you, more famous, tougher, better fighters, people that dress better. And there always will be. And really, you're not in competition with them. In my opinion, the only thing you're in competition with is your own sense of lack. Lack of self-worth, lack of self-love, lack of trust in yourself. So, number one, yeah, you connect to your soul. And number two, you connect to past lives. Some of these past lives, like I mentioned in other recordings, you're going to be way ahead of where you are now. In other past lives, you're going to be way worse off than you are now. And you might find the roots of this. You might go into lifetimes where you could have been enslaved. You could have been in an abusive marriage, relationship, where you could have been trapped your entire life in a really hellish situation. And many people have past lives like that. And you don't have to be afraid of re-experiencing them, because when you re-experience that stuff, something lifts. And it's an amazing thing that happens, because you've been carrying that around your whole life and you didn't even know what you were carrying around. Your mind made different ideas, different hypotheses about the feelings you were going through. I'm not good enough because my face looks like this, my body looks like that, my bank account looks like that, whatever. But really, it's just a feeling. It's just a shitty feeling that people are walking around with. And remember, society encourages that feeling. What would advertising be with people not feeling that they're not good enough? For the whole system to work as it's set up now, people have to doubt themselves. People have to copy others. That's the way it's set up. So when you reconnect to who you really are on a soul level, on the level of eternity, on the level of what I call your core frequency, then you realize you're just a unique expression. It's like, imagine all billions of rays of light coming out of the sun. And imagine they all just have a kind of unique quality, that they're all slightly different. They all come from the same sun. They're all rays of light. And they're all needed. They're all good. But imagine they're all different. And imagine those rays of light looking at each other thinking, oh God, I wish I was more like that other one. Why? Be the character you are now to the max. And notice all the weirdos that are famous. Notice that we like individual characters. A lot of the not good enough stuff just comes from conformity. And it doesn't come just from trying to conform, but it comes from failing to conform, because on a certain level, you can't conform. And so your failure to conform is internalized as another proof that you're not good enough. It can be hard to reverse that process. But I find with past life regression hypnosis, that process can be changed dramatically in one session. And it's amazing to see that happen. When the person locks in to their core frequency, to their uniqueness, realizes what their mission, what their purpose in this life is, and quits criticizing themselves. If you could have a printout of all the words you say to yourself in your inner dialogue every day, you'd probably be appalled at the names you call yourself, at the way you criticize yourself. It would probably freak you out. So tapping into the essence of what you really are on a soul level, on a level of all of your past lives, is a really powerful way to get you over this lack of self-confidence issue that we all have, this not good enough issue that we've all been trained to have. It's a really good way to do it. And there are others.